Hey class, welcome to Unit 2.2. This one is going to take a little bit more to explain. This is not your average lesson. There's actually two lessons here. And so while the load is not necessarily heavy, understanding fine little details is going to be rather more important. So we're going to focus on quotation marks and italics. And quotation marks are most commonly associated with people's speech. Sometimes just like quoted words, like if you take a dictionary word, sometimes for emphasis, and then also articles and song titles get quotation marks. But this one is for, exercise 1 is for spoken word only. So each one of these sentences have spoken words that are going to be quoted. They're going to need a quote at the beginning and at the end. For number 1 here, he said, I told you so. You're just going to go before the I, and then after the period. So he said, quote, I told you so. That's all I'm doing there. The same thing for number 2. Dr. Adams, this one's a little bit different though. Dr. Adams mentioned in a speech that. Here we're going to go seamlessly from our sentence construction into some quoted material. Seamlessly, no commas or anything. Dr. Adams mentioned in a speech that independence, if you get it on the wrong word, then it attaches it to the wrong space. Why is it doing that? There you go. Independence. That still looks weird. Sometimes it's weird. Is the key to the to American society. There's something goofy going on with that piece. So if you get some weird spacing on those quotes, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm not sure why it's doing that. So just keep doing that for these. You'll see some in the beginning, like where the quote's in the beginning. You'll see some more in the beginning, some at the end. This one's actually split. No, the taxi driver said curtly, I cannot get you to the airport in 15 minutes. So you're going to have to put quotes around both of those. It's going to be no, and then after the comma, and then I, right before the I, connect you to the airport in 15 minutes, period, quotation mark, right? Like that sort of a thing. So let me take those out because this is my master copy. But that's a weird spot I had. So that's how you do the quotation marks. And then we use italics for book titles. So for use of emphasis. So if you want to emphasize a word. So and this is actually kind of a capital there. The Adventurer's Guide. I need a apostrophe there. All right. And you're going to take your title and you're going to control I or use your italics thing up here. The Adventurer's Guide to the Galaxy. That's the name of the book. And then this is a fun example because Harry Potter is the hero of the book. Harry Potter. Or you could say, Harry Potter is the hero of Harry Potter. I made it a little bit easier by pointing out that it's the book. Right. And here could actually be a comma. So the book title, italics. That's it. William Faulkner wrote The Sound of the Fury. That's the book, right? And so down here we kind of put things together. And we kind of mess around a little bit more where we say italics for books or albums, like music albums, and quotation marks for articles or song titles. So Billie Jean is a song. Well, that instantly tells me what I'm doing. I'm going quotation marks. In the album Thriller. That's the name of the album. And it says italics for that. Okay. You do that for all of these. And then this one is a chapter title. Availability heuristic was a chapter in the book. You Are Not So Smart. So chapters get quotations. The other ones get italics. For application to concepts, you're actually going to work with your writing portfolio a little bit for RIT 101. In RIT 101, the writing portfolio says to find quotes from your SIRS articles. And so when you choose your topic in SIRS, so let's say you choose vaccines, and then you look at your articles, you need to take 2 quotes from every article that's going to support your essay. You can do that early. It's kind of an easier week here. Unit 2.2 is a quick week in RIT 101. And take those quotes and actually put them into a quote format. For RIT 101, we're just taking the quote and pasting it, just to make sure that you know that to gather quotes. But here we're actually going to apply it. That way next week in RIT 101, we can start to see, we'll have a little bit of practice, a little bit more practice, making author statements or author tags, maybe a comma, a quotation with quotation marks, and the in-text citations. So here's my example of that. I said right here, Devin Martin, 2021, that's the date of the article in SIR's database, states, and then I pulled a quote. When I pulled this quote, I copied and pasted it, and it messed with everything that was formatted. Copy and pasting is not bad, but messing with your formatting is. So I had to reformat it back to Times New Roman in a 12-point font, and I actually had to change its font color because it was in a gray, and I had to change it back to black. So you can copy and paste, but you must reformat if it brings in a different font, size, and color. And that's a lot. Most of them will try to change it. At the very end, no period after pro mandates here, right? Because that period gets moved to the very, very end of the sentence here, right there. And it's going to follow a parentheses with your paragraph number. So you count which paragraph in the article it was. This one was paragraph 2. And then you put it there. Finally, reading journal is You Are Not So Smart. It's the straw man fallacy, chapter 16. And a straw man is when you make an argument that's not really the argument you're making. To help you out with this, obviously read the chapter. But then I thought maybe go to YouTube and type in straw man fallacy for an example and see if you can find an example that works for you of what a straw man fallacy is. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, maybe it surprised you, whatever the case. Talk about right in here about how you went to YouTube or wherever you want to look. You can just go to the internet too to find an example, and list your examples that you found. And then, see if this is something that you spot a lot, if people do this often, if you feel that this is, obviously it's a bad technique. It's not a good way to debate. But just talk about it that way, or maybe other types of fallacy that is close to if you're good with fallacy, or just do a little summary from the chapter. I don't really care. But I thought maybe having you go out and look might be a fun way to do it. So I hope this helps you with Unit 2.2. Have a great day.